In today's video, guys, we're gonna have a look at the new HYDRA sensation, Yannica and Wixwell, the Vault Keeper, which is the current fusion in Raid Shadow Legends at the moment. Currently, I am on the test server, so we're gonna have a look at what this team can do. What are the pros, what are the cons, and this team, unlike the others, has a hard cap on the damage, guys. Now, how I mentioned, there are cons and pros with this team as well. First, I do want to give a massive shout out to Bronco, guys. He's the person that put the tune together with Wixwell and with Yannica. This is inspired overall from the Yannica and the Void Legendary Champion that had a bug, which got fixed, by the way, so you cannot use that one. That was dealing crazy damage. This one, unlike that team, it won't be able to achieve such amazing results. But this can be a team that will really help a lot of you guys out there. So make sure you guys head over to Bronco, drop him a subscribe, drop him a like, and show him some love. So what I'm running right here, guys, I am using Brogni. Now, Brogni can increase the value of the shield based on what sort of damage he deals. This is not going to be anywhere as powerful as the Corporal and Cadaver team. This is not a bug, by the way. This is a team that works because is a strategy behind it, so it's not a bug or a cheese or anything like that. Now, out of these champions, you can actually replace a few of them. Krisk can be replaced. You don't actually need Krisk in here. He does look pretty good in the team. He can help you a bit with the Head of Mischief at the beginning. He will bring his own shield. He brings you the defense down. He brings you the attack down, decrease speed. HYDRA will bring you that as well. But overall, Krisk can be replaced. It's not a necessity to have him in the team. Brogni as well can be replaced. You can run a different champion instead of Brogni. You can run a Duchess. You can run a Tatura. You can run different characters that will basically give you the buffs that you need. Wixwell is not replaceable, so he is the current fusion. HYDRA can potentially be replaced if you decide to use 2 Painkeepers instead. I do prefer running her over 2 Painkeepers. And yeah, Yannica cannot be replaced. She's the only champion in the game that actually does this. So basically, she will remove shield buffs from the target if the champion is under a veil or perfect veil. Then deals extra damage equal to 15% of the value of the removed shield buffs. How I mentioned, this team has a hard cap. It doesn't matter how much shield we are putting on the team, okay? When you deal the damage, you're gonna hit for 340 million, if I'm not mistaken, on each one of the heads. And that's it. You cannot go higher than that. It doesn't matter how big is the shield. Now, you can, of course, have a lot of RNG involved, but you can play around in the run, either to have the Head of Mischief to steal some buffs again after a couple of turns, either maybe to regrow the shield for another 150 turns and drop a double dip. But basically, the cap for this team is 1.2 billion with the very first stack of the shield. You can build Yannica for damage. You don't need to build her for damage. You have tons of different options. So this team is pretty aura friendly, I would say, if you're making the right preset on the team as well. So Amic needs to open with the A3, and that should be the priority. Krisk doesn't use the A2 only when you want to give extra buffs to the rest of the heads to ensure that you're going to be able to control the Head of Mischief. I mean, it's going to be pretty hard to control the Head of Mischief because Krisk will have 10 buffs, Amic will be close to 10 buffs as well, and then you kind of like need to hope that the Head of Mischief will not constantly attack only Krisk, you know. Then, Brogni, you want to open with the A3 to give you the increased attack, to give you the block debuffs, and of course, after slowly, he will start to grow the shield with the A2. Yannica, you don't want to use the A2 on her to gain the extra turns to get the veil. You can use the A3 if you want to. It's not a necessity. You can just stop this as well and just go with the A1 if you want. Wixwell needs to prioritize the A2. You don't want to use the A3 till you decide to give extra buffs to champions. HYDRA prioritizes the A2, and you don't want to use the A3. So basically, let me just quickly explain you how this team will work. Let me quickly explain you how this team actually works, guys. So the whole idea behind it is that we are going to build a shield to the infinite, more or less. We're going to build an insane shield. Now, the way this is going to work is that we have 2 champions that increase the duration of buffs to ensure that the shield buff never runs out. Then we have Amic Trunkheart with the Taunt buff and with the Unkillable. The Unkillable is not really doing anything in here. The main thing that we want from Amic Trunkheart is the reset skill cooldown and have the taunt. When you have a taunt buff in your team, the Hydra heads cannot devour your marked champion even at turn count 0. So that basically allows you to create a loop where your champions will never get devoured by the Hydra. Then, of course, I have HYDRA constantly resetting Amic Trunkheart. This is a pretty aura-friendly team. It's not taking a lot of time. And how I mentioned, it has a very hard cap on the damage. But I'm going to get to that in just a second. Amic Trunkheart will reset the rest after. So the whole idea behind it is that Void champions can reset each other. I know a lot of you guys are not familiar with this, but Void champions can reset each other. It's not a thing only of W Mecho, because most people say, well, it's not Tranda, it's W Mecho. Painkeepers can reset, HYDRA can reset, Amics can reset, they can reset each other basically, and that allows us to create the same loop over and over again. Now with Brogni, I'm going to increase the value of the shield a bit. It's not going to be as helpful as it was in the Corporal Cadaver run, because I won't have defense down and weaken on the decapitated heads to really grow the shield a lot, you know, but it's still going to be pretty helpful for me to kill some of the heads, get some extra damage, and in case if I need to, if I want to go for a second shield stack, I could do it with Brogni pretty quick, because the Hydra heads won't break the shield if you have decent builds on your characters. Now, how you may notice, Wixwell is really increasing the value of the shield from here on. It might not look like a lot early on, but after a while, he's actually really increasing the shield value by quite a bit, you know, which is definitely very helpful for a team like this. The reason why we don't want to use all of the skills on the champions is because once we reach turn count 120, 130 or so, I still need to find a sweet spot to see when we are reaching the cap. Then you don't have to basically... you need to basically allow the Head of Mischief to steal buffs from champions that don't have resistance. So you need to give them buffs to other champions. So you're basically going to gamble with the Head of Mischief. Are you going to steal my buffs? Are you going to steal his buffs? So you're going to have to wait a little bit. Now, it will take you quite a bit of time basically to play around. It has a lot of RNG, this team. It's not like you're just gonna do it once and job done. It might not work from the first try. Usually, as long as you are paying attention and you're doing the right things, it should be spot on. Now, the main thing from here on is having that Head of Mischief to respawn again. The Head of Torment can create you some issues, especially if you're running a team like this with Brogni, but we have it tuned in such a way that HYDRA cleanses Amic, then the rest of them will use their skills. If I need to put the intercept buff with Wixwell, I'm gonna do it. Then I'm gonna have Brogni going in with the A2, and that will give us a cleanse as well, you know. So that is actually pretty important to ensure that fear is not going to be an issue for you. But basically, that's how this team works, guys. It's very straightforward. How you may notice, this is on full auto. The damage is very underwhelming for the moment. We are only at 10 million. But once the shield reaches the right amount and the Head of Mischief is stealing it, we're instantly gonna bombard the Hydra heads for a maximum of 1.2 billion. The reason why I'm saying is a maximum is because that's where the damage is capped in Raid Shadow Legends. You cannot hit for more than 340 plus million per Hydra head. It doesn't matter what you're doing. So that's why I'm saying that this team is hard capped comparing it with any other team. Once you are losing that shield, that stack of shield, you can play again with the RNG and have the Head of Mischief to steal the shield from a different champion. And when he's stealing the shield from that different champion, you can go again for a repeat and use the A3 again on Yannica, and boom, make another 1.2 billion, which will take you to approximately 2.4 billions. Now, if you are using the A3 on Yannica when you have reflect damage on any of the Hydra heads, the Head of Rat or the Head of Suffering, Yannica will die. Yannica can weak hit with the A3, which means that the shield is still going to stay on one of the heads and you're not going to get the damage. So that will reduce the damage overall, because you might only do 900 plus million instead, rather than doing doing the 1.2 billion. So these are all issues that can happen with this team. I'm not gonna play this run. I'm gonna go over to a different run that I've just recorded before, guys, just to kind of like explain you how it's going to work at the end and what sort of other options we would have in order to basically do more damage with this team. So right here, guys, I actually manual this run just to get a better grasp of everything that is happening with the team and to see kind of like what are the bad things that could happen, what are the good things, and how we could actually improve the team. So I want to take you to the moment where we are actually dropping the shield stack to the Head of Mischief. Now, we have the Head of Torment right here. It can mess you up a little bit if you're not tuning the team properly. So right here, how you may notice, I have Brogni. Krisk just got feared, which it will stay feared like this. This can mess you up a little bit if you don't increase the duration of buffs enough before. Wixwell going in with his A2, increasing the duration of buffs. We have HYDRA cleansing Amic, so Amic is safe and sound. He can do his job, basically put a taunt or decrease the duration of skills. He is growing the shield as well with A1. But then you have right here Brogni, which is faster than Krisk, which will go in with A2 and cleanse everybody else. So if you have fear, for example, on Wixwell, if you have fear, for example, on Krisk, if you have fear, for example, on HYDRA, you have Brogni that comes in with A2 and cleanses that. Brogni is on a reflex set as well, though. So that's kind of like the whole trick with it. You see, constantly going in the same loop. So the Head of Torment won't really be an issue. Right here, we have fear on Amic Trunkheart. HYDRA removes the debuff, resets the skills, and we're going on from here on. Now, you gotta basically hunt for the Head of Mischief, guys, to have him spawning here. Right here, he just targeted my Yannica, stole the buffs from her. It can happen. We did not have the biggest shield in there. So if I'm gonna go a bit more towards the end right here, where we're actually gonna get a bigger shield. So we killed the Head of Mischief right here. We had him spawn again. So that's when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buff. I'm gonna put enough buffs on HYDRA on Brogni. So the Head of Mischief will be tempted to target them over targeting Krisk or over targeting Amic Trunkheart, you know? And like this, again, you're gonna play a bit with the RNG. It might take the Head of Mischief a few turns till he decides to hit somebody else except Krisk or Amic Trunkheart. When you want him to hit somebody else, he usually doesn't. And when you want him to hit, when you don't want him to hit somebody else, he usually does. You know, it's kind of like the opposite with him. Okay, so he went for Amic in here. Let's skip 30 more seconds. So the Head of Mischief is about to take another turn now. The shield that I have on Yannica is not as big as the shield I have on the rest because we've been growing the shield on the other champions since the beginning of the fight. But on Yannica, because she got devoured before, I think Amic Trunkheart had a bit of a oops. We lost quite a bit of a shield. So right now, the Head of Mischief stole all that shield. He's about to spread it to the rest of the heads. And how you may notice, we have 58 million at turn count 174. Let's see where we are getting from here. Okay, so we got one champion devoured, which is fine. There we go. Decrease the cooldowns of the skills right there. So now we're going in with Yannica. Check this out. Come on, Yannica, do it. So that's the damage cap per head, guys. 322 million, sorry, not 340. So that's how much damage you can deal. Now, how you may notice, we haven't dealt damage on the Head of Rat because Yannica died when she hit the Head of Suffering. So we basically lost 322 million damage, which could put us at a total of 1.2 billion damage. Now, let's just assume from here on, we have Yannica alive. What we could do, if the Head of Mischief survived, of course, or if not, we can hunt again for the Head of Mischief, which is a much better option. We can have the Head of Mischief to steal buffs, for example, from champions like Brogni. And then we can go in again with Yannica's A3 and get another 1 or 1.2 billion damage. Or you can start rebuilding the shield again by buffing with Brogni, for example, putting the shield on the rest of the champions, and building again the shield on them, building the buffs again, and that will kind of like fit in the total turn count. It will allow you to do two stacks of shield, the one that you've just seen and another one. But that is taking you quite a bit of time to make it happen, and from here on is a lot of RNG. Now, what I do like about this team, guys, is that it's fairly easy to make it work on all of the difficulties and get 1 billion damage, right? So you know what you're getting. You're going to get 1 billion damage. You're not going to get 2, 3, 4, 5, 20 billion damage, but you will get 1 billion damage. And how I mentioned, Krisk doesn't need to be in the team, and you're going to be able to increase your Hydra Clash score by quite a bit. And I feel like this will benefit a lot of you guys out there that are looking to get that 1 billion damage, either on hard, either on normal, either on brutal, either on nightmare, and ensure that you are getting the top chest in the Hydra Clash. So overall, I think is a very, very solid team that will allow you to hit a hard cap damage, but is a damage that a lot of people are not able to hit with the rest of the teams that are using, you know? So how you may notice, almost 1 billion damage from Yannica. So I have my Yannica built for damage, guys. You don't need to... Bronco actually build her with HP with no damage whatsoever. So I have her build like this just because I'm going to kill some of the heads. I want to help Brogni to increase the value of shield as well a bit. And if I'm planning to kind of like go for the longer run and do a double stack of shield, she will be much better like this if she is dealing some damage. You don't need to have crazy stats like this, not at all, okay? So I just wanted to kind of like try a couple of different things and see if it's actually worth it or not. But honestly, it's not worth it to have her build for damage, and it's not a necessity to have Brogni in the team either, because you're not gonna get higher damage because of the hard cap that this team has. And that's something that I did not know before I tried the team out to see the cap, you know? So this is the Yannica that we are using at the moment. I do have the 20% ignore defense, but I'm on the test server, and we still don't know if these area bonus stats are actually working now or they're not. So you can just have an idea of what stats you are seeing here. Then Brogni, he is built on a reflex set, and he is built on a merciless. Total stats on him, we have 61k HP, 4.7k attack, 3.6k defense, 254 speed, 105 crit rate, 208 crit damage. Yannica is the slowest champion in the team, guys. So Under Priest Brogni is at 254. Masteries for Under Priest Brogni, we have Helm Smasher as tier 6. We have support. We want to have Shield Bearer on to increase the value of the shield. And just quickly to show you the masteries on Yannica, sorry. We have offense and defense. We have Helm Smasher as a tier 6 on her as well. But these are the old arena masteries that I've never actually changed. I could increase a bit of damage, but not the damage I'm dealing on the shield. The damage by the damage that I'm doing by using the A1 or the A2. So Wixwell is on a merciless and a reflex set, guys. Total stats on him, honestly, they don't really matter too much. You just want to get the speed, and if you want some accuracy to provoke and stuff, it's gonna be helpful. But that's about it. You know, you don't want to go with resistance because you might want the heads to steal buffs from him. Masteries, we have offense and support. We have War Master as tier 6, guys, and yeah, that's pretty much what we have on. Then talking about the next champion that we had in the team, which is HYDRA Nia. She's built on an impulse and a reflex set, 2 refresh accessories as well. Total stats 75k HP, 3.3k defense, 261 speed. So she is the second fastest champion in the team. 272 accuracy to put that decreased speed with the A1. Masteries, we have offense and support. War Master as a tier 6, Lore of Steel. Then we have Amic Drunkard, guys. He is built on a shield set. That's just to make sure that the Hydra heads won't break the shield early on. And you're gonna have a thicker shield, basically, you know? So you do want to have resistance on him. He is the fastest champion in the team. 270 plus speed will work just fine on him. 450 plus resistance. As much HP as possible for that shield. And that's about it. No accuracy on him, no damage or anything like that. Masteries, we have defense and support. I just got Unshakable to get some extra resistance. Shield Bearer again on the champion. Then I think we have Krisk that I haven't showed you just yet. Krisk is on a Merciless and a Relentless set as well. So that's what enables my team to be in such a good tune with the Head of Torment guys and constantly have the cleanses on, increase the duration of buffs, is because of the Merciless and Reflex sets on 3 different champions, you know. Total stats, we have 70k HP, 4.1k defense, 238 speed, 450 resistance, 294 accuracy, and this is what we have as masteries. We have Eagle Eye tier 6, just to try and get the extra accuracy that we need, because I don't have the best pieces from the Merciless and Reflex, and I don't think I missed any of the champions. Brogni, I don't know if I showed you Brogni, but I showed you Brogni right before, actually, yeah. So I think I showed you all of the champions. We've seen Yannica, we've seen Wixwell, we've seen Amic, we've seen HYDRA and Nia, we've seen Krisk, we've seen Brogni. So that's what we have, guys, in terms of the team. Definitely a pretty interesting comp, how I mentioned. If you want to get 1 billion damage, this is definitely the way to do it. Big shout out to Bronco again, guys. That was all for the video. Much love, appreciate all of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.